Anyways, what's the next question?
All right, the next question is... Let's see, this is one that Drake had initially asked, and then he changed it to his Ebonhorn question from last week.
Okay.
He initially asked, do you think it's going to come down to the Void Lords being our allies, or at the very least, a minion of theirs like Xalatath, considering we as mortals are, we're mortals because of their curse of flesh? Are we going to effectively like ally with them because of the self-imposed curse that they, well, not self-imposed, but the curse that they gave us?
All right, so I would argue if we go by the new book, I don't even know how true it is that there are such a thing as Void Lords, because the new book sort of throws all of this into question. Remember, the information that we have of a Void Lord destroying the planets of the what are they called again? The Ethereals. The Ethereals themselves don't want to speak about it. They don't want to tell us exactly what happened there. Void Lords might be a thing, but I'm sort of starting to wonder if the Void Lords are even connected to the Old Gods. If my theory is correct about the Old Gods, then the Old Gods come from Azeroth, and the Void Lords might actually be something that is completely unrelated to both Old God and Azeroth entirely. But even if we said, well, actually, that's wrong, the Void Lords and the Old Gods are still very much connected, we don't know what the nature of the Void Lords are, because the only evidence we have of who the Void Lords are or what the Void Lords want is from the Titans. The evidence that we have in the game of the Old Gods, they don't want to kill us. That's clear. They've made that clear. They've been testing us. They've been pushing us. But they've never really cared about killing us. They've never wanted to slaughter us. They have their own plans and their own existence, and whatever that might be, we don't quite know. But yeah, I genuinely can't answer that. It's difficult because I don't know exactly where these books slot into the lore and what goes around the books, because the books clearly either ends a story that is going to happen in Dragonflight, or is the start of a story that's going to end up, or that's going to happen in Dragonflight. What we know for a fact is that we've been lied to multiple times.
So just for clarification,
Yeah.
the books that you're referring to, are those little snippets from the quests in Dragonflight, or the actual books to be published?
No, the in-game books.
The in-game books.
Yeah,
okay.
The ones that
That's what I thought, but I thought I'd ask to clarify.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I should probably have clarified that myself. The in-game books that we got, that we covered yesterday, sort of... So it, in so many words, tells us that the Titan Keepers lied to us because, well... Actually, for a number of reasons. I should probably just... I shouldn't just leave it there. So the Titan Keepers lied to us, for one, because they don't believe that the mortal existence and the mortal mind can handle the truth. For two, there are things that took place that either they are ashamed of or they don't want anyone to know about. So, for example, they say that the mortals, that all creation should be spoken of as being done by the Titans, because the Titans brought order to whatever was here. But the Titans should be attributed with everything that has ever been made. All of the wonders, all of the beautiful things, all of the great things. This was the Titans. It had nothing to do with anyone else. Fuck that. Okay, so clearly we've been lied to multiple times. They also speak about how they imprisoned the Old Gods, and that is the only thing, that's the only story that we should ever know about. They speak about the Black Empire, and how we're not allowed to know anything about the Black Empire. So there's clearly a lot of things going on. There's a lot of sort of back and forth going on here. And I'm not entirely sure... I'm not sure what this back and forth, or where this is going to end. If it's going to end with us being friends with the Old Gods, or if it's going to end with us being friends with the Void Lords, or maybe, and this is what I would hope for, that it ends with us not partnering with either side. So I genuinely still believe to my core that we, as mortals of Azeroth, are in a war against all of the cosmological forces. I believe that the cosmological forces have a goal. If we align with a cosmological force and their goal, the cosmological force will have no problem working with us. But the minute we stand against this cosmological force and its goal, so if we're in the way, it will have no problem removing us from the equation. And we see this happening with the light on Alternative Draenor, where the light basically either you serve or you die. It offers no other options. It does not handle dissent. It does not allow for dissent. If you do not follow, if you do not serve, you will die. We see the same actions with Illyria atop of the ship. I can't remember what the ship was called now, but in 1,000 Years of War, the audio drama, Illyria is thrown into prison when they discover that she is wielding void magic.
Yeah, doesn't Terralion do that himself?
Yep.
Like, it's weird
I think
that
so.
her own husband is the one that locks her up.
That's because he's aligned with
so
this cosmic
zealous.
force. Yeah, the cosmic forces have their own plans, and their schemes do not include us insofar as its end result. What they want is not for us to live very happy, beautiful lives. What they want is not a great future for all mortals. What they want is complete and utter control of the entire galaxy, of the great beyond. And they will go to any lengths to get that future. The one where either the light rules or life rules or death rules, depending on which cosmological force you look at. There is another option, which I only literally just now started to consider. Yesterday, I said that... Sorry, I'm just checking because load shedding... Oh, well, yeah, okay, load shedding, never mind. It's just telling me that I'm getting load shedding the whole weekend. Yesterday, I said... You have two forces at the start of things. This is according to the language of the first ones. There were two forces at the start. And these two forces, eventually one of them would become 6 forces, maybe 7, that whole thing. And I said, what if Azeroth is the one on the outside? But now there's another option here. What if the Zeroth Realms is the one on the outside? What if the first ones is the force on the outside? What if Azeroth and the true cosmological forces? So in this sense, I have to show you guys the map for this to make sense. The cosmological map for this to make sense. Hold on.
While you're pulling that up, so you're effectively saying, what if the Zeroths in and of themselves are like... I guess little gateways or little portals into the outside force that we've been alluded to. So they're basically the outside force actually making its presence known throughout our reality.
Kind of, but not quite. Look at the map on your screens right now. Do you guys see? I'm gonna have to find. Hold up. All right, so look at the map here, even though it's fucking so small. Jesus Christ. Do you guys see those lines, right? There's these circular lines that run sort of locking everything here on the outside. Do you guys see that? So you have this line running that shows Wild Gods, the Burning Legion, the Undead, the Old Gods, the Titans... And then everything else is locked on the outside. And then you see these lines connecting the Emerald Dream to reality and the Shadows. What if reality, the first force, made reality, including all of the cosmological forces? So it made light, it made life, it made order, it made void or shadow, it made death, and it made disorder. That was the first force. The other force then came in and subverted it. sort of changed it, made it almost enslaved it. The other force came and it made the wild gods, the titans, the old gods, the undead, the burning legion, the Naru, as a way to almost conquer the system. So it created these beings that could only exist because of Zeroth realms, because the other force does not have the ability to create life. It cannot create anything. It can subvert, but it cannot create. So it creates these Zeroth realms, and these Zeroth realms create these constructs. These constructs then try, at least, to rule the world. I'll give you an example of this. According to the information we have of how the universe works, and I realize that I'm sort of making no sense. I'll try and make sense in a minute. But according to the information that we have from Steve Denuser and Key, all of these cosmological forces are at war with one another. They fight to try to stay in balance with one another. The purpose, on the other hand, doesn't seem to be that. If you pay attention to the purpose, you have the wild gods of life inside the realms of death. Literally, the wild gods are born inside Ardenweald. How are they enemies? I mean, if these were enemies of one another that wanted to fight to keep each other in balance, or, well, they don't want to fight to keep each other in balance. They fight each other because they want conquest, but because all of them are fighting each other, they're constantly in balance. Why would death not just kill the wild gods? I mean, that's a great way to win. Because the wild gods have to be born inside your realm, therefore, you don't have to worry about it. But what if we've never seen the actual realm of death? Because the Shadowlands, in this case here, the Shadowlands, was a realm built to exclude death. What if we've never actually seen the realms of disorder? Because the Burning Legion was created as a way to exclude the Lords of Chaos. What if we've never actually seen the realms of life? Because the wild gods were created to exclude life from the equation. The same with the Titans in Order. The only one, I would say here, that does not adhere to those rules would be the old gods, because they are clearly not constructs. They are mounds of flesh, which is why I said the old gods are most likely a creation of reality itself, of Azeroth itself. So in this instance, the one force that the brokers saw as the force that created everything is not as they saw the force that also created the Eternal Ones and the Titans and all that. It's the force that created all of the cosmological powers. The force that created the Titans and the Zeroth Mortis realms and all that is the force that then came in and subverted the system. Made the system their own, so as to gain power, so as to conquer. Perhaps. I don't know.
So effectively, we go back to that initial line in Shadowlands that the Shadowlands as we see it is not functioning as it was initially intended. And maybe the Shadowlands being an artificial construct of the true realms of death, which, by the way, that's always been my prevailing theory, is the Shadowlands are like a gateway keeping the real realm of death away from either reality or from us. It would lend that some more credence, because the biggest problem I had with Shadowlands is we don't see that supposed dysfunction, or we don't actually see that how the Shadowlands is different than what was initially in place. The only thing we do see from that is Shadowlands version 1 the jailer was the arbiter. Shadowlands version 2, they made a robot with the jailer's anima, and that's really all we see of differences.
Yeah, my problem with it is far more profound. In this entire universe, or far more simple, in the entire universe of which we're told these forces are always in combat with one another, it would appear as if light, the wild gods, the titans, and death all work together. The only two forces that seem to be at war with all of the others is the Burning Legion and the Old Gods. They're the only ones that seem to be, and with the Burning Legion, an argument can be made that the Titans infiltrated the Burning Legion as well, because Sargeras is actually the leader of the Burning Legion. We have little to no evidence, outside of what the Titans told us, that the Burning Legion actually destroys planets. Remember, it is the Titans that tell us that they went around saving planets from the Burning Legion, and that Sargeras would imprison the demons inside Mardum after realizing that he can't kill them outside of the Twisting Nether. It is the Titans that tell us this. We have no evidence of this. Yeah, we've never seen the Burning Legion act outside of the will of Sargeras. And even then, an argument can be made that, well, actually, the Burning Legion was infiltrated long before Sargeras even did it, because who does Sargeras meet in his fight against the demons? The Nathrazim, who have already infiltrated the Burning Legion at this point, because for a long time the Nathrazim were believed to be demons. It's not until Shadowlands that we find out the Nathrazim are not demons. The Nathrazim are creatures of the Shadowlands. Their master is one of the lords of the Shadowlands. Something weird is going on here. That's my answer.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, Sargeras taking up the Fel. Initially, I was on board with you suggesting that was Elune trying to play this giant shell game of
that was long ago. Jesus, that was an old theory. But yeah.
Oh yeah, very much so. But who's to say that Sargeras taking up the Fel and running the demons isn't some great game to make it look like there are these forces at play, when in reality it could be just giant manipulations from, well, now apparently the Titans.
Well, anything is possible at this point, because these fuckers cannot and should not be trusted. Sargeras was right all along, ladies and gentlemen. Don't trust the fucking Titans. They are bastards.